Hey guys, it's Jess from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with some sci-fi fantasy romance recommendations. I actually think these are all fantasy. I don't read that much sci-fi at all, and I don't read a lot of fantasy, but I have been in such a fantasy mood lately. I did do this video, I think a year ago, and all of these are different, so I'll go ahead and link that video down below. And I just really love fantasy when it has a romance in it. I am a romance reader, you guys all know if you follow me, and fantasy to me is really interesting, but I need to care about the romance between certain characters in order to even care about the story. I have read some beloved fantasy books and I didn't really like them because I felt like the story was slow and there was no romance, so I really didn't care. But these are all fantasy books that have a strong romance element. It might not necessarily be the main plot line, but there is something I can just like grasp onto and cling to and like ship these characters and want to get to the end so I know if they're together or not. So I have quite a stack, so I'll go ahead and get to my recommendations. The first one actually inspired this video, and I'm not done with it yet. I think I'm halfway through, but I did want to share it. It did take me a while to get used to this writing, but it is The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. This one I saw like all over Twitter and Instagram, so I just decided to order it from Barnes & Noble because I was placing an order and I needed to get free shipping. So I added this on. I think it was like $12 for a hardback. It was on sale. So this one is about our main character who is not nice. This is marketed to me as a Slytherin romance, and it even says in the dedication that this is a Slytherin romance. And it starts out with her talking about how she killed the first guy who denied her, basically. Her main plan in this book is to seduce the king so that she can kill him when they're married and be queen. So right now she's still seducing him, but you know, it's kind of like turning into something more, and I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, the writing took me a while to get used to because she is a little bit over the top with how villainous she is, and I wasn't a fan of like her voice, but I'm getting used to it now, and like she's becoming more genuine of a character, so we're getting to know her more. So I really like this. I can't wait to finish it, and I would recommend checking this out. Next is a new favorite of mine, and I am already dying to read the next books in this series, and a book 4 comes out later this year, and that is Never in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. I'm so late to this train. I don't remember when this book came out. I know it's at least 5 years, I think. This has been out, and there's not even like that much romance in here, but I'm obsessed with the romance. We have followed two main characters. We have the girl and the guy. So the girl, she is determined to save her brother who was captured by like the enemy, and this government system is like awful. And so she decides to go to the rebels and says, hey, my brother worked for you, and because of you, he's kidnapped, and I need you to help me break him out of jail. And they tell her, we'll help you if you go undercover as a servant to the like leader of this regime who is awful and forced the previous slave to kill herself, basically. So she was like, okay. And then we are also following the guy who is actually this leader's son, and he is part of the regime. He doesn't really like it though, so he's training to be like one of the like assassin people in this regime, but he wants to really run away. And it's their romance, but like not. Like there's chemistry between them, but they both kind of like other people, kind of. And you're like, well, I don't know if I like them with those other people, but I kind of like them with each other. And the ending leaves room for like more growth in this romance, and I'm dying to read more about them and see if they actually get together or not. And it's so good, and this is very dark. Just like, this is a very bad society and bad things happen, so be wary of that. But I love this, and I cannot wait to read the rest of the series. The next one I love because of the romance, but it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so obviously there's a romance, and it's A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. I'm dying to read book 2, but this one, our main character is living in current day DC, and she is pretty much taken off the streets to this fantasy land because she saw someone being kidnapped and was like, oh my god, like what's happening? And she tries to intervene and ends up being taken instead. And we have this royal castle where this prince lives, and it's only him and his one guard from his army, so he literally has like one soldier left, and he is cursed, and so every season it resets. He takes a girl from the real world, and she has to fall in love with him for his curse to be broken, and the curse is really affecting the entire town, and the curse turns him into a beast. So their romance, and she starts to care more about like the land and the people in the land, and I really like that. And she kind of changes him so he's not like monotonously going through girls and not really changing how he approaches this situation. It's so good. I loved his guard. His guard gets the next book and I'm dying for that, and I know there's a new girl point of view in that book and we haven't met her yet, I don't think. So this is so good though, and I cannot wait to read the next one. My next recommendation you guys are gonna be surprised by, because there's not really that much of a romance, but the more I thought about this book, the more I realized how much I like this book and how much I like the romance. So I won't say I loved reading it while I was reading it, but that is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I ended up giving this 4 stars, and this romance was so good, and it kind of comes out more in the very end. So I'm very excited to see what happens with the romance in book 2. It happens with the main character Vin, and it kind of reminded me of a historical romance novel because she is impersonating someone in society who has to go to balls and teas and just be social, and it's really adorable and I liked it, and I am excited to continue on with the series now. And like I said, the more I think about reading this book, the more I realize how much I liked it, even though I didn't love it while I was reading it, if that makes sense. The next one is probably one of my new favorite books of 2020, and that's House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. We should not be surprised that I love a Sarah J Maas romance. This one is our main character Bryce, who is half Fae, I think. She's half Fae, and she's trying to figure out a mystery. I don't want to tell you because I don't want to spoil it. And this fallen angel, he has to help her, and he's fallen because he tried to go against the current government and tried to lead a revolution, failed, and so now he's a servant, so he has to kill people for the person who pretty much like owns him. He has to kill the amount of people that died during the revolution because it was like his fault, so he's got to kill a lot of people before he's free, and so they have to work together, and it's such a slow burn romance that I was dying. And I don't know what it is about angels, but I love angels and angel romances, so if you have good ones, let me know. I know Angel Fall by Susan E is a really popular one, and I really want to read that. I do own it, I just have to get to it. But if you have any other angel recommendations, let me know, because like his wing would like brush her back and it'd be just like, oh my god, like the tension between these two characters. I loved it. You need to read this if you like a slow burn fantasy romance. The next one is actually a standalone fantasy, and that is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This one was really good. Our main character grows up in a magical library and she wants to be a librarian, and these books like move and are dangerous, and there's like levels of dangerous books, and someone released one of the most dangerous books in the library, and someone's been doing that to all the libraries, so she has to figure out what's going on, and a sorcerer helps her. And in this society, sorcerers are really looked down upon, and so she immediately has bad feelings about him, but they grow closer and they try to figure out what's happening in their world. And the side character, I don't remember what exactly he was, but he was like a servant to the sorcerer. He was literally the best, and everybody who I know has read this book loved his character. I think he's probably the best character, and I want a book just for him. But this is a standalone and it's really good. If you like magical libraries, you'll love this, and it had a cute romance. Next is a pretty popular one, and it is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Maherin. I got to meet her, and I still don't know if I'm saying that right, but she came to Cincinnati, so I went to the signing that she was at with Margaret Rogerson from the previous book, and Isabel Ibanez, which I have not read Woven in Moonlight, so I can't recommend it, but this one is about our main character who is a witch, but in this society, witches are hunted and killed, and so she hides the fact that she's a witch, and there is a witch hunter that she kind of gets in a compromising position with in public, so they have to get married. So it's a marriage of convenience. She's hiding her true identity. He is literally like, witches are evil, and I need to hunt all of them down and kill them. So that's a little confliction there, and it's really cute. Her character is a little annoying to me because she's like, I can say what I want and be crass around people because I love making them uncomfortable, and I don't really like main characters like that. But this one was really good, and I did really enjoy the romance. I did think I gave it 4 stars because of our main character, and that's really all I can say. I don't want to spoil anything, but this was really good if you like a witch kind of romance, and there's definitely shocking things at the end. Book 2 is gorgeous. It's like red, and it comes out I think in September. It comes out later this year, but I'm very excited for that, especially after this ending. And the last one I have is adult, and it's pretty old, so it is Angel's Blood by Nalini Singh. This is book 1 in the Guild Hunter series, and I don't know if this is considered fantasy or paranormal because angels are in both, so I don't know. If you know, let me know. Like, witches, are those paranormal or fantasy, or does it depend on the world? I don't know. But this one is a good romance between our main character, who's a vampire hunter, and an archangel. And this society is interesting because vampires like serve angels because they're turned by angels, so they like have to serve them after being turned, and she pretty much hunts them down when they don't continue their contract basically with these angels, and it is her romance with an archangel. And so it's really fun, and it went by super fast, and I did give this a 4-star because I mean it's the first book in a series, and I typically don't enjoy with these kind of series the first books when they're like 10 books long. I typically like the characters more when we get to know them, and I think the romance really develops a lot more after this, and I really enjoyed that ending with what happens to our main character, so I can't wait to see what happens with these characters. I have not read the rest of the series, but I'm definitely going to. And those are some fantasy romances. Those are all fantasy. I don't think I had any sci-fi. So we'll just call this the fantasy romance recommendation video. Let me know down below if you have any other fantasy romances that you've loved. There are so many fantasy books I have to read. They're my YAs behind me, and I've been buying a lot of YA fantasy lately. So let me know if there are any I should read. I do have my other video where if you're like, well, where is this book? It's probably in that video if I've read it. So check that out. Let me know your recommendations, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.